I texted Tony last week. I'm like, hey, man, give me some dates, bro. And then he gave me some dates, and then he got a little bit busy. And then I think he was actually sitting in bed with his wife, and I think he said, Leah, I was supposed to do Bubba this week. And so him and Rico reached out to me. So welcome, T. How you doing, buddy?
I was panicked, bud. I'm good, by the way. But yeah, I was panicked. I looked over at Leah and I'm like, holy, I think I screwed up and missed the show that I was supposed to be on with Bubba. So,
And
yeah,
Leah is, I got to tell you, in the history of your and I's friendship, she's the first person you've been with that actually doesn't hate me.
it's because she's as screwed up as we are.
Yeah,
It's hard to hate anything at that point.
she is so cool. My God, she's like a man, and I don't mean that disrespectfully, but she's wired like a man. She really is.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's like hanging out with one of your frat buddies that just looks really smoking hot.
I know. I remember the first time I met her a couple of years ago in Gainesville, and it was like literally I didn't have to tiptoe around any subject matter. We could be ourselves. I think we were actually talking about I don't even think I know I can even bring up what we were, but we were talking about like total guy stuff, like total guy sexual stuff. And she was just like, yeah, like she was just part of the deal, like whatever.
Yeah, she can run, bud. That's the best thing about her. I remember going on our first date, and it started in Gainesville, and we ended up going to Bike Week. And I knew by the end of the night that over the course of the history of my entire life and what I've done, that date was a way different date than anything I'd ever been on with anybody else. So that was kind of the first indication that, hey, something's different about this girl, something special about her, and we gotta pursue this a little
Well,
more.
one of the things that was different about her is that she was probably the only person. I know that you dated that Jessica chick, but she couldn't drive worth a lick. But it was the first person that you ever dated that was a true motorsport enthusiast and could, on your level, be a competitive. Be competitive and a different, obviously a different type of motorsport, but one now that is not as easy as it looks, and so one of my Leah stories is when that 2 years ago in Gainesville when she was still driving before you guys had Dominic, she had a hell of a run. I think she was like maybe P6, and she came back from a qualifying run, and like a lot of the prima donnas, I don't know if Justin Ashley's a prima donna or Doug Coletta or Anton Brown, but Leah gets out of the car, goes up to the personal area a little bit, takes her helmet off, maybe wipes off some sweat. Then she goes to working on the car. She starts packing her chutes. She starts putting nitro in the car. And I'm like, wow, she's not, she's not a Danica Patrick or anybody like that you have to handle with kid gloves. When I saw her packing her own chutes, I'm like, that chick's for real, for real.
Yeah, she is. It's and that's a big deal to her. I never even thought about it because I started dating her and I was the plus one, and I'm the trophy wife that's standing in the doorway of the trailer, in everybody's way and stuff and watching. But, I actually got to where, I remember we went out to a race and I guess, I don't know, we had two races. There was one though that I worked the whole day and I was mixing fuel for her. I didn't pack chutes. I still don't pack my own chutes. It's like, that's the one thing that if only one thing on the car has to work right at the end of the day, I want those damn parachutes to come out. Cause that is stop or that is ram into a massive oversized ski net on steroids.
Oh my God. And then the same, and you completely, not only might you die, but what's a rail cost? $200,000-$300,000. What's a rail cost?
Probably about that. Even more once you get all the stuff on it. And when you send one in the sand trap, especially if it gets into the net and starts,
it's done. It's done.
You're hundreds of thousands of dollars.
If those things even get bent a little bit, just because everything's so symmetric, if a rail even gets, like, let's say, you had a little scrape against the wall, just a little one, but you're going 315 miles an hour, does it, just a little nick against the wall probably gets it all out of whack, doesn't it?
Well, they definitely have to measure it and make sure it's square. If if it's bent the least little bit, then it's compromised in their eyes, and which is smart. I mean, these cars, the dragsters, when you hit the gas, will actually
Oh yeah,
arch
you
up.
can see them
They're going
flex.
down the track, so they're designed to do that. But if a tube or something's compromised from touching anything, or even Leah's car, I mean, if you think back to when Leah's car literally folded in
Oh,
half,
that was a bad wreck, and I can't believe. I mean, I've seen guys not walk away from that kind of stuff. The one her she did.
and she didn't, and that wasn't because she hit something to run before. She literally got a gust of wind at St. Louis that made the car kind of make a big move. And honestly, the team, and I had been hanging around the team for a little while. They didn't even know to look at the chassis to see if anything was compromised. But when she made that next run, it was very apparent that what had happened in that first run had created damage, and then it was catastrophic. I mean, the car literally folds in half like a lawn chair.
Oh, we got that.
Like through the
What so far? What's been the sketchiest that you've had so far in rail? Like, what's been? I know we could go through your sprint car stuff, we could go through your NASCAR stuff, but with rail, and you haven't had. I mean, you've been lucky. It's not lucky, but you've been fortunate so far not to really have a John Force or something like that type moment. But there has had to be a couple sketch moments, where you've had to pedal it. People don't realize, man, you got a lot of times you'll see those butterfly valves, open up, close, open up, close, open up, close. What's been your sketchiest so far?
honestly, I think the one that stood out the most was we were running at Bristol, and I think we were in the semifinals, and I was in the right hand lane, and at about 600 feet, we cut a left front tire down
Oh man,
at 300 miles an hour.
yeah, yeah. And those things are about that wide. I mean, they're just teeny tiny.
Yeah, but they hold like 95 pounds of air in them or something
Right.
like that. And when it went down, I was in the right hand lane, and it started pulling me left to the center line, and so it was kind of sketchy.
Did you throw the chutes immediately, or without it
No,
upset you?
I got it to the line.
You pedaled it.
But I had I just stayed in it and just kept steering it. But you're steering the thing to the right and steering it to the right, and it's not coming back to the right. I finally got it square, but I had this much wheel in it. My hands are turned like this versus straight. Just to go straight was like this.
Like you're driving a 410 non-wing, you're just you're just straight, right?
But I would say that was, and then you watch these explosions when the motors blow, and you don't realize how violent it is. And I had 3 of those moments in Norwalk, Ohio, before we did the West Coast swing. And I kept asking Leah when I got back to the pit, I'm like, why do these guys keep asking if I'm all right? I'm like, I'm like, they've never seen a sprint car crash, obviously.
Right.
Until I went to Seattle. In Seattle, we blew one in the second round, I believe, of competition. And when it blew, it went big time. And literally the doctor diagnosed me with a mild concussion after that.
Oh, really?
I had to chill out the rest of the week because we ran Sonoma the next weekend. Had to chill out during the week and then wait to get cleared by the NHRA doctor just to compete at Sonoma. So it's like you watch it on TV and it looks easy. You think, the track goes straight. You just hold it straight and you mash the gas. There are so many more things that are going on with procedures and what the car's doing, and you're never not driving those cars. You just don't hold the wheel straight and mash the gas. It's going to always move around a little bit, and you got to be ready for it. But when moments like that happen, you have no clue how violent it is inside the car. And when I had asked Leah that at Norwalk a couple weeks before that, I said, why do they keep checking on me? And she goes, well, watch your head in the slow-mo. And when that thing pops, it's like somebody hits you in the back of the head with a baseball bat. Your head goes wham into the tethers on the head and neck restraint. So I just didn't, it's anytime you're doing something new, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So until it happens, you don't know how to react to it, to compensate, and B, what it's going to feel like. So in that moment, it's like, that's when I got down at Seattle and the NHRA doctor was there. And I'm like, now I know why you guys ask every time if we're all right, because it's way more violent than what people feel.
Oh,
and
you
think
know,
it is.
the one there's several different sports. You know, like for instance, the hand-eye coordination. If you like, you and I took you to a Lightning game, and you know, hockey is another sport that unless you see it in person, the hand-eye coordination of those guys. And you know, another thing that TV doesn't do any justice is that after you take the green at the Daytona 500, after you take the green and you got that first lap to wind up, and then when you come around for lap two, it's like a herd of buffalo. Like you cannot explain because you're all packed up. You got 40 of them, and they're all just inches apart, and that's another thing that TV doesn't do any justice. And then the very top of the list is if you're fortunate enough, like me, or even the guy sitting in row 50 at the launch line, the violence of the Top Fuel night, the funny cars and the rails, television doesn't do it any justice. And the first time I saw it, I was like, there's a human being in there that's like in a rocket, literally in a rocket, and there's a human being in there that's under 12,000 horsepower going 0 to 300 in 2 seconds, and you just television. And I don't know that you can really appreciate the athleticism and the violence of drag racing unless you go. And the good thing, and I will tell you this, having gone to NASCAR and obviously short track racing it puts you, you're very famous for when you ran 410s and when you ran USAC in your early career. You're a stiffy on people coming up during the race and asking for an autograph, but you'll stay. I've seen you stay 3 hours before and sign every autograph at a dirt track. So dirt tracks are kind of a lot like NHRA, where the fans can get so close to the driver, and there's probably 5-6 different times that you're going out to the stanchions and spending time with the fans, and the fans can literally get within 5 or 6 feet of that back wheel when you guys are starting them up and warming them up, and it's such a great value, and you can get so close to your favorite drivers. It's just such a really good vibe. Now, NHRA, those are some crooked bastards on how much they charge you and Randy from Skag, and I'm not going to quite get into all that because I do know the financials of all that, and I just wish that they were way more fairer to you guys on that's a Gestapo in itself. But talking about the actual drivers and how accessible you guys are, you're always going over to the merch trailer. I would, if anybody that's listening or watching this show has never been to an NHRA show and you like motorsport, whether it's dirt track, asphalt track, NASCAR, USAC, and you've never been to an NHRA event, it's an eye opener. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, an absolute eye opener.
Yeah, it really is. It's I think that's what makes unique or what makes NHRA unique from, even aside from dirt track. Even the fans at a dirt race, they can come down after the race is over from the grandstands. Now there's people that have to pay extra money to buy a pit pass to be down in the pits and be that close. And like you say, when we're down there at a sprint race, Kyle Larson's a good buddy of mine. We parked next to each other numerous times at the dirt races, and Kyle has a different philosophy than I do. Kyle, if he's got 30 seconds to do it and there's people outside, he'll go do it to knock it out and get it done to where when the races are over, he doesn't have as long a line, and then he can go home. I'm the other way. I can't even outrun Kyle Larson in this one. I've got to pay attention to what the hell I'm doing.
Yeah.
And
you're over there trying to steal a setup.
Well, I'm over trying to look at the racetrack and make sure I know what's going on and this and that. But I was always better about being focused on the racing during the racing. And then after it was over, I'm done racing and just being with the fans. So that's the difference with NHRA is that, we're not on track like we are a cup car for 3.5 hours.
Right.
Right. We go to the staging lanes. We might be in the staging lane 20 minutes or 30 minutes, depending on what's going on. You get in the car. When it's our run, we're from the time they fire it up and start the motor till the time that we turn off is a little over 2 minutes total time. So you're really doing something for only a couple minutes, and then you get out and you tow back, and then you start the process of rebuilding the motor and everything. But it does give us a lot of time to spend with the fans at the pit, at the car, and you can't get that access anywhere else. People still ask me, "Hey, can you help me get garage passes?" I'm like, "For what?"
Yeah, you
To
don't need
watch
them.
to watch the crew guys push a car around and go to tech because they don't even. It's not like it used to be where we had an hour of practice and cars are driving in and out of the garage and you get to see what's going on. You don't get to see anything at a NASCAR race anymore in the
No,
pits.
NASCAR has done it to themselves too.
Yeah, but it was, and that was kind of during COVID that shift happened. It was trying to simplify everything. And this is to NASCAR's credit. I mean, they were trying to make sure everybody could stay in business, so they literally changed their procedures to accommodate making the load as light as they could make it, but still put on a good product. So it wasn't against NASCAR on that necessarily, but it's just kind of changed to where you got Jim France running it now,
Yeah.
and Jim
I
France is a great guy, super great guy, but he has got a big hold and a big love for road racing and sports car racing. So the sports cars don't drive in and out of the garage; they tow them out to pit road, and then they do their practice sessions from pit road and tow them back. Well, that's exactly what we're doing with NASCAR now.
right, right.
Take the cars to pit road. Nobody's driving in and out of the garage. It's
I think NASCAR, and of course you're a really good friend of mine, and I'm very biased to you, but NASCAR hasn't been the same since you left. From all the changes they've made, to choking the cars down. I know probably you getting out of that arena has been probably one of the best decisions you ever made because it was killing you. It was literally killing you. Towards the last part of the last couple of years. They had made it so that almost anybody with any type of motor skill could drive those things. They've choked them down so much. They made them so tight, and they've made them so templated. And it might as well be IROC is what it might as well be. And it's just not what it used to be. It's not what you grew up on. It's not what you cut your teeth on. And I think, in my opinion, here I am, back in the day, 15, 20 years ago, I would know who was fast guy on practice. I would know who's sitting on the pole. I would know where they're racing. I would know where they're going to be next week. I would know the standings. I would know who's mad at who. I would know which manufacturer was doing good. And quite frankly, for $50 million, I could not tell you where they're racing this weekend. I couldn't.
Yeah. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I can't either. I've literally seen one NASCAR race this year, and that was because my mom and stepdad came down, and my stepdad put it on TV, and it happened to be the Sonoma race, and Sonoma is my second favorite track that we ran on the NASCAR circuit.
Which was your last track that you won at too, wasn't it?
Yeah, that too.
Where you doored? I think you doored Clint, didn't you?
No, Denny Hamlin.
Oh, Denny Hamlin.
If you guys really want to know, it's Watkins Glen this weekend.
Oh, well, we could care.
Yeah,
but hold on.
I'm not going to use.
But hold on. You were good. You were good there too, buddy. You were good at the Glen. You were good at the Glen.
It's odd because there's been a lot of fans, and especially the ones that are road race fans. I won twice as many races at Watkins Glen as I did Sonoma, but I liked racing at both of them, obviously, but there was something about Watkins Glen had long enough straightaways that you would get your work done, leaving the corner, and you had time to relax and, take a break, and you might have a shift or two in the middle of that, but you had a lot of time to relax. Sonoma is just one of those tracks that was really a finesse track, and you really had to be easy on the throttle. The asphalt was worn out, which they just resurfaced Sonoma not too long ago, but it was one of those tracks that you had to really get in a rhythm, and there were only a couple opportunities per lap to take a break, and it was literally a second to 2 seconds that you might get a break where you're just not doing something. And I guess that's one of the reasons I really like Sonoma better.
Were you a heel toe guy? They make a big deal. No, you were not. You were a left. You were a 2-footed. I guess left foot on the brake wheel. Right foot gas.
Yeah, it's the transmissions were so good in the Cup cars that once we left pit road in first gear, you literally didn't have to use the clutch anymore. But you had to be savvy on kind of being able to hear the RPM and knowing. We have shift lights for the upshifts,
right.
You can get in troubles on the downshifts if you downshift too early, if you downshift too late, but having to match the gears. And the transmissions were pretty forgiving on that. It made it very easy to if you missed it by a couple RPM, it wasn't like you were going to get in trouble with the gearbox. But yeah, you literally could shift up and down without having to use the clutch in them.
And when you were in Cup, you were one of the top. You were one of the, when they talked about road racers, you were in that conversation. You were one of those. You were a road racer. I mean, not only did they have to worry about you, at Richmond and everywhere else, but when they're like, okay, well, the 20 or the 14, whatever car you're in, he's going to be good here. Wasn't Watkins Glen where you and Jeff Gordon got into it?
I think it was actually.
I think it was.
I tried to chase him in his trailer.
You were full hot on him, and I really thought there was going to be a hook out. I really did.
No, there wasn't. He was standing on the other side of his car by his trailer door, like he had 2 feet to get to safety, and he knew it. So
what
I call him the Rainbow Warrior.
What were you the most mad? I think the most mad you were is when Logano ran you down, and then Maddie set you up for a softball question, and then you're like, I'm going to whip his ass when I see him. Remember that one?
Yeah, he and I will say this about Joey. I mean, Joey did a lot of stuff in his early years of his career that not only myself but a lot of people didn't like. Fast forward now to current times, and there's still a lot of people that don't like Joey, but I know Joey a little better, and Joey races different now than he did back then. But what people don't know and don't see is all the positive things Joey Logano does off the racetrack that he never does it to get any credit. He doesn't want anybody necessarily knowing he's doing it, but Joey does a lot for a lot of people in motorsports. On top of that,
do things change in NASCAR, Tony, when you go from being a rookie, fresh face rookie, racing against Dale Sr. and racing against, Walt, those when you were first got in, and then you become kind of the elder statesman towards the last part of your career, where it's you and Jimmy Johnson and the elder statesman, so to speak. Does things change for you at that point? Like do the young kids come up to you in the garage if you're not brake cleaning their ass with a flame retardant? Like, but I mean, when you progress through NASCAR as a rookie to the elder statesman to a 3-time champion, do things change for you in the garage?
I think a little bit. I mean, obviously, when you go to places that some of these guys haven't been to, if they didn't have teammates that could help them, some of the young guys would come talk to you about it. But man, I mean, you want to talk about how time changes and how the eras change and this and that. I mean, I came into the Cup Series when Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Rusty Wallace and Jeff Burton, Ward Burton, Terry Labonte, think Mark Martin, I mentioned, Dale Jarrett. You had all these true badass men that were driving race cars.
And you were a kid, and they were men. They were men.
They were men's men too.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
They weren't just guys that just showed up
with
their helmet back and got in the car and then got in their fancy jet and went home. I mean, these guys knew about their cars, had worked on their cars. Bill Elliott teaching his son Chase how to work on them. I mean, you had guys that truly had grown up the hard way to work their way into the Cup Series. And then as time goes on, the drivers are getting younger and younger coming in because, NASCAR started this Young Guns program. So they started promoting all these young guys. And it's like, to me, it's like, you'll watch an NFL game and you get excited about it. You go to aside from going to Oklahoma and Texas, where they get more fans at a high school football game than they do at an NFL game.
Right.
Most places you go on a Friday night to a football game, a high school game, and nobody gives a crap.
Right.
They don't know. They don't want to go watch a 17 or 18-year-old kid play football. Well, it's the same thing in racing now. We've crammed all this getting younger to get these guys in cars. The guy that works a blue-collar job and works, 8 a.m. till 5 every day, 5 days a week, doesn't give 2 shits about these young guys. They don't have a story.
Well,
they don't have.
And the young guys, a lot of the young guys didn't, grow up at age 6 driving the Dairy Queen go-kart at Bartholomew, track. A lot of these kids have sim raced, for however long, and then their dad writes, like the Kosofer kid, or their dad writes a big check. I think rent a ride, but listen, as you being an owner, a former owner, just recently, just a couple, you have to almost, even though rent a ride is not necessarily good for the sport, as a business, always trying to get sponsors and stuff. If you got somebody that's willing to pay you, $5-6 million for a Cup ride, or $2.5-3 million for an Xfinity ride, they've taken.
Turn your head to it.
Yeah, you just can't. You just can't. I mean, I think I don't know if this has ever been said, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful because I know you work with her, but I think Danica's one of her big draws were not necessarily her talent, is that she was absolutely a advertiser's darling. And you owned the team when she drove for you, and it was like, she paid for herself and then some.
So it took me back to even before Danica came into our program, because I had a lot of people ask, why did I hire Danica? But before that, I had a kid that his father, when I had my USAC teams in Brownsburg and was running, 2 midget teams, 2 sprint teams, 2 Silver Crown teams.
Levi and all the guys.
Yeah, exactly. But when I had that, I had a guy that his son, he came to me and wanted me to run him in one of our cars. And bless the kid's heart. I mean, he had the desire, he worked hard at it, but he just wasn't going to make it. And he crashed a lot, tore up, destroyed a lot of cars driving for us. So I always said after that moment, I wasn't going to hire somebody. I wasn't going to let myself get in a position as a team owner to where I had to rely on somebody bringing money to drive our cars. So then that fast forwards to Danica Patrick, and everybody goes, well, you hired her because, she brought GoDaddy and they wrote a big check. And I'm like, that's not why I hired Danica Patrick. I hired Danica Patrick because I watched her run at the Indy 500 one year, and she finished 4th in the race, but she was fighting for the win in the closing stages. And I remember a moment in turn 1 where the car had a wiggle. Right. And got loose. And there's a bump there. And I know exactly where the bump was. I knew exactly why that car moved when it did. And I watched how she caught it and never checked up. I mean, just stayed focused, stayed on the gas, kept digging and kept herself in contention to win that race. And that was the moment that I said, we had our eye on her, and we knew that we had an opportunity to get her. And that was the moment that I said, okay, I'm all in. I want to get this girl, because people don't do that in the closing stages of Indy. And they either normally wad it up, or they bail out of it and panic, and they get so far behind they can't get caught back up and be that factor at the end again. And she didn't do that. So that was why I hired Danica Patrick. But you think back when I started in Cup in '99, they had more Fortune 500 companies that wanted to be on cars than there were cars.
Right, right.
Yeah. And it was, I mean, you saw Home Depot for a whole season. You saw Lowe's for a whole season, Miller Lite for a whole season.
And you saw Home Depot for for 15 years. Like, I mean, it was not just a one-off, it was, hey, how long do we need? I think it was his name Nardelli?
Bob Nardelli.
Bob Nardelli.
He's the CEO I've ever worked with.
Said, listen, Tony, I got you, buddy. However long you want to be here, I got you. Right? I mean, money's no object.
And now you look at the state of it, it's, you're selling one-off races. I mean, we're not painting cars anymore. We were wrapping cars, which was great because it made it easy to do that. It was easy to take it off after the race. It was, had great vinyl graphics department at our shop, and guys could knock out a car in a day versus having to paint them and then send them to get graphics and this and that. But it just shows how the economy of motorsports changed.
Yeah.
In the Elite Series, and IndyCar, you kind of see it the same. I mean, you see some different paint schemes on different cars throughout the year, but most of them, what they have for the entire season. So it's it just the whole dynamic changed of it to where now these kids that have a father that either has a big company that they can spend money on, or knows somebody that has a big company that'll write them a check. That helps these guys, yeah. But the teams need the help too. They don't have these Fortune 500 companies that sign on for the entire season. So it's not that the team owners gave in and gave up. It's just kind of the balance of, this is what you have to do to maintain your business and to operate correctly too. So, and it doesn't mean that all those kids can't drive that get opportunities like that, but those opportunities did not exist in the late 90s.
No.
And real early 2000s.
I mean, like, you got your, I saw a short on Gibbs. It was Joe Gibbs, and they were talking about how they got you, and you had a 1-year contract left with, was it Rainier? A guy named Rainier? Yep. And Joe was like, man, first of all, Joe, he said, first of all, I couldn't track the kid down because he's running dirt here, and he's in Terre Haute one night, he's in Richmond the next night, and he's in Winchester the one night. And he goes, but he had a girlfriend, which might have been Krista, I don't know, that lived in Indy, and I could call her, and she would sometimes direct me as to when she thought he might be home. And he goes, but we had our eye on this kid. And he goes, then so one day I call her up, and she things might not have been going so good. Tony might have stepped on his deal a little bit on that deal. And he goes, so I finally was able to get a hold of the kid, and we were able to get him over to NASCAR. But did he have to buy Rainier out, or is that what he had to do?
He had to buy my contract out, which at that time, I mean, I was just getting into the sport. So Harry Rainier and his son Lauren's the one that scouted me. I mean, he went to a lot of races for a year and a half before he signed me. But no, they were a great family and gave me a great opportunity. But when you get that call from Gibbs, and honestly, the reason that the Rainier thing didn't work out for me was they wanted to move me into a Cup car earlier than I felt like I was ready. And a lot of people would sit there and go, why would you turn that down? Well, very easy for me, because it's no different than any other business world. You work your way up the business ladder and you do it a step at a time. Here I am getting into the Xfinity series. I'm one step away from the top of this, and I wasn't doing very well.
Yeah, Joe said you wadded some stuff up early. It's what Joe said.
I wadded Ranier's cars up, and then when I started driving for Joe, I wadded cars up. But some reason when I went to the Cup car, it flipped a switch. I mean, it took a little over a third of the way through the season for me to really start figuring out the cars and the tires. And when it literally was just like somebody turned a light switch on, the way I felt in the car, the feel I had for the car changed immediately. It just in the course of a couple weeks. And then we started kicking butt.
Well, and then, one thing back then, God, what were you guys doing? 850, 900 horsepower. And a guy like you that was used to being loose and free could really make up time and could really get an advantage on a guy that's not like most racers don't like being free. Meanwhile, a guy like you, free doesn't scare you. Free's fast. And so they've got him choked down so much now that a driver that is a driver like Kyle Larson, for instance, who can drive anything and who loves being free, his advantage on his skill set doesn't pop out as much when you're choked down to, what are they, 550 now, 525, I mean, instead of at 900, you were feathering that pedal, that right, you were getting it a little assy, and the other guys are lifting and braking, and that is a lot of your success, I think. And I think that them choking the cars down so much is taking the driver out of it a lot.
I think the horsepower is a big part of that. And I think the second part is just the technology and the direction that NASCAR's gone with a lot of the things with this new car that they have. There's just a lot of things that make it more modern, but it also makes the cars to where, and technology, I think, is probably a bigger factor than what NASCAR's done to it, honestly. It's just changed the game to where you can't take a Kyle Larson anymore or Kyle Busch, who has a ton of talent. They can't sit there and get in those cars and now manipulate them.
Right.
Where before, like you said, when I started, man, I could change how I entered the corner. I could change what I did with my hands and feet. I could totally manipulate that car. And I couldn't fix it if it wasn't right, but I could always change and alter how it drove a little bit and make it a little bit better. It's almost impossible.
But you needed that horsepower to do that. You needed to be able to, you needed to have those donkeys being able to, I remember a couple times when you were struggling towards the last part and they were choking them down. I think you and I talked one time where like Kevin was on the pole or Kevin was real fast, top 5, and you were like 15, 16. And I think they said, Tony, We'll put you in Kevin's setup because we know Kevin's setup's good, and you're like, I can't drive this dump truck. I cannot drive this car.
So Harvick always liked his cars tighter than I did. I think Ryan Newman and I were real similar when we were teammates on setups. Kurt Busch was different. The thing that was different in Kurt's driving style, Kurt really drove the car really hard into the corner. He went further than anybody. So you had to do things with his setups to accommodate and work around that versus, I lifted a lot earlier. Kevin lifted a lot earlier. Danica, just depending on what track we were at, sometimes she went way deeper. Sometimes we could get her to lift early. But everybody's driving styles are different. So even though you take like Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing, and when we had SHR, you got 4 drivers in a team. You'd think, man, if one guy's really kicking butt out there and got speed, you just put that same setup on all 4 cars. Does not work.
No, not at all.
The drivers have different driving styles. It's no different than us guys. We like blondes, brunettes, redheads. We all like something different. And so each crew chief had to figure out, yeah, this package is giving this guy a lot of speed. Now, how do we take that and tweak it for how our driver drives the car?
So, T, do you think, former IndyCar champion, not just, but IndyCar champion, 96, was it 96, 97? 97 IndyCar champion, the whole series. How much have those cars changed? And could you jump? I mean, as talented as you are, you can drive anything. They say you and Larson are the 2 dudes that have been in our generation that can drive anything. Could you get in? Could you get in the one of the competitive Indy cars right now and roll it around Indy at and be competitive?
I think somebody asked me about the Indy 500 in particular, and I said, do I think I could, in a very competitive car, make the show? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do I think I would have a shot to win the race? Probably not. And that's just strictly from the standpoint that these drivers, in this era, are so good. And I mean, keep in mind, they're running one type of car every week.
Right.
That's it. They're not out driving something else on the side, this and that. You got Connor Daly that'll go out and he'll go do some NASCAR stuff here and there. But the guys that are really at the top of their game, I mean, that is all they eat, sleep, breathe is driving those cars.
Yeah, but don't underestimate the white trash guy from Columbus. I'm just telling you, bro. I think we could put you in one of the Andretti cars or something like that, and just because you're so good, you're so competitive. I think you'd be there, boy. You're not gonna mess up on a pit stop. You're not gonna stall. You're not gonna spin out. I mean, I think you're there. I really do.
We would have a respectable run. I do feel like that. I guess where I'm going with this, though, is it is so technical now, and there's, it's like I told the Cup guys last year when they were asking about NHRA, and so I'm not changing the topic.
Right.
Here. I said, how you guys have to make split-second decisions, and they're like, yeah, absolutely. I said, all right, well, what I have to do in this drag car that's different than what we did in NASCAR is I have to take that split-second decision and make a split-second decision off of that.
And then a split-second decision off of that. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of seconds.
That's just going to a different form of motorsports, how the mindset that you're thinking about is different, because you're not settling in for a 3.5-hour race like you are a NASCAR race. You're getting in there for a 3.5-second run.
Right.
It's done in 3.5 seconds. So, to go to IndyCar and to try to be on top of that, I mean, you would have to run a lot of the old. I always said that if I was going to do that again, I would have to run all the oval races the year before I ran it.
Yeah.
Just to get reacclimated, to get in tune with understanding during the run and during a race. I mean, you can practice and run practice sessions all you want. Race conditions are always. Now,
did they have the weight jacker when you were there? How they're like? Okay, I didn't know that they had that because
it wasn't on the steering wheel. It was literally a hydraulic one that we had to twist the handle. And when you were twisting it to pick a corner up and load it, you're having to manhandle that.
Right. You're manually you're twisting almost like a brake biased almost.
Exactly. And it was hard to do that when you were running, because you already have the car making a bunch of downforce. So it's pushing down on the car. So if you were trying to add weight to a corner, you're having to load that and push it even harder. It made it really tough to do. So now that they can do it on the steering wheels, but they're so good. These drivers are so good at that, and knowing literally Indy's got 4 corners and they're shaped exactly the same. But if it's windy at all 4 of those corners drive different, and they literally will change it for each corner if they want. So the amount of detail that those drivers have in IndyCar right now is so much greater than what we had to have 15, 20 years ago and beyond that.
I love that NBC brought you and Danica in for Indy. Do you enjoy? I mean, I think it's great. First of all, I'm all about marketing and all that kind of deal, and it's great for your brand. I mean, it's so good for your brand to be a commentator for Indy. It's a lot of eyeballs for your brand. Do you genuinely like doing it, or is it a pain in your ass?
No, I do like it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The part that was hard this year was my wife Leah had a quick getaway that week planned for us, so I literally was not at the track until the day before the race was my first opportunity.
Yeah, but you don't need any notes and stuff. Like, they overthink the whole process.
No, I did need them. And I didn't really know till I got to the meeting on Saturday, the day before the race, exactly what they were having me do and where they were having me and what topics they wanted me to talk about. But, I went on a houseboat trip to Lake Powell that week. And like I said, Leah had already had it planned with two other couples that we were going out there with. And so I literally remember being on the houseboat about 10 minutes before we backed it out of the marina, and was talking to Marco Andretti for a long time about the cars, and obviously had the hybrid system there and what that was gonna do, and the challenges the drivers and teams were having. I was hearing news of what was going on,
right?
I wasn't there. So Marco did a really good job of getting me up to speed of what was happening, and then literally one of the days there, I'd been playing phone tag with Larson, and Kyle was calling me, and I was sitting on top of my phone on a surfboat out on the lake. And I'm like, we got to shut everything down. I mean, we got music blaring and, people surfing, and literally we stopped and shut everything off so I could hear him in the middle of this lake in Arizona, and had a good half-hour conversation with him. So between those two guys, I got up to speed of what was going on, and that made race day a lot better. But I do love it. I enjoy it. Danica and I didn't exactly end our relationship.
Yeah, I knew a little bit about that, and so I saw you two together. But you guys, I mean, you would have never known that there was ever any heat there at all.
No, and honestly, I told her toward the end of the day, I said, I'm glad we got to do this together. I said I said I've held on to some resentment for a long time, and I said getting to work with you today, I said I feel like it was when we started working together originally. I said I'm glad we got an opportunity to do this. So it was really nice to have that.
Plus, you better not get too lippy with her, because did you see those shoulders she's kicking?
Come on, man. Let's be realistic here, bud.
I'm just messing with you.
You know how we fight down here. We don't fight fair. We fight.
I'll tell you a fight I'd like to see is Leah versus Danica. That'd be a hell of a fight too.
I think that's an easy one. I know exactly who to pick.
Well, Leah's got the reach, and she's got the meanness too. I mean, look who she's married to. She's not a powder puff.
Well, and what most people don't realize is that in her teens, Leah took up boxing in her teens.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've been told by very good sources that this is the one that you walk a little lightly around.
I don't walk lightly. I make sure before I do something stupid, I sit and think about what the ramifications are going to be. You
pick your battles a little bit more closely now than you used to. You used to be just Johnny Erratic. I'll say whatever I want, whatever, bitch. Now, I mean, I'm sure that you're a little more calculated on that.
I am, but we were literally talking about it again yesterday. I mean, Leah is just like you and I. She's just as twisted. She's got the same messed up sense of humor that we have. And it is absolutely, for us as a couple, it is hilarious for us to go out and mix company sometimes, because we'll say things, and sometimes it's her saying something to me. Sometimes it's me saying something to her, and we know exactly what we're doing when we do it. When we say it, we know we're not saying something to hurt each other's feelings, and people are mortified.
We were
not that way around everybody, but there's select people who like to have fun around.
You two were drinking beers in Gainesville, and it was about time for everybody to kind of go home, and she turned to you and said, "Hey, dumbass, you ready to go? It's getting a little late there, Gramps." And then we all laughed, because none of your girls have ever talked to you like that. I mean, she just said, "Hey, dumbass, we got to get going. Come on." Yeah,
she I'm 54 now, so it's not like I'm the young gun anymore, and I'm not sitting there picking out my funeral plot yet, but she'll get her jabs in there. She can, like you said, not only she can just run with the big dogs anywhere. She can run with the boys in any circumstance. And I've watched guys that thought they could out drink her, when we were on off weekends and on vacations and stuff, and I sit back and I just prop my feet back and put my head back and go, I've seen this movie. I know how this ends, and you watch them get annihilated by her. I
remember my first heads up about her was Sumo, of course, and Sumo's Sumo knows everything. How goddamn! I'm just going to tell you, he's got him a spark plug on this one. Woo! It's funny. That's what he said.
He knew right off the bat too. When he met her the first time, I remember we got home and he called me and he goes, "Yeah, she's different." And I said, "Damn right she is."
How's Donnie looking for Knoxville?
Terrible.
Really?
He ran his preliminary night last night, and it was a natural disaster.
Yeah.
So the good news, he gets to rerun again on Friday, and hopefully, we'll be able to take what happened last night and try to fix whatever needs to be fixed for him to give him a better shot on Friday night to improve our position. But it's it's definitely not our normal Knoxville Nationals. He's definitely not been happy with his race car all year, and I've about thrown everything I can think of to throw at it to try to make it better. I just don't know what I need to do now to get him where he wants to be.
I got to thank you for letting me have Rob Platfoot for February, because my God, that guy is just, he helped. We never rubbered. We had USAC back to back with 5 nights or 6 nights of Lucas. A lot of horsepower on the track. A lot of ops instances where you could rubber down, and that guy's just, he knows how to slowly triculate moisture into it. He's just. And the guy can fix anything. Like, I think a PTO bearing fell off a thing. He jumps down, throws a cigarette down, gets it. He's just amazing. And so I just wanted to let you know, man, thank you for letting me have him for February, because I know he's your main guy at Eldora. And
he does a great job.
You got a good team now with him and Levi. You got you a good team.
Absolutely. The great thing with Levi is he's a racer, so he understands it from the car owner standpoint, the driver standpoint, sponsors, series. He's well versed in that. I mean, he is literally hitting a home run getting Levi. But Rob's one of those guys that he's kind of the guy behind the scenes that a lot of people don't know about him. But he works on the track at Eldora, and like you said, I mean, it's not, he doesn't just prep the racetrack; he's fixing equipment. So and there's things that. It was fun when I started working with Rob. There were a lot of things he really didn't know how to do as far as.
Oh, he's hard, and he's hard-headed too, buddy. Woo!
Oh man, and it took a long time, but I feel like the longer we've worked together, we have that mutual respect, and Rob knows that when I go to him with something, it's not because I'm mad at him, or if he doesn't know how to do something, I'm not mad that he doesn't know how to do it. It's just, hey, let's get somebody to come over and teach both of us how to do this, because I don't know how to do some of those things either. So
you should hear some of the radio traffic between him.
Stronger.
You should hear the radio traffic between him and Swally, because Swally's out there burning up hot laps, just burning Rob's track up, and Rob goes, Swally, hey Swally, and I'm listening to the radio, and I told Swally, man, I said, Swally, I'm telling you, I can make some small little adjustments here and there, but we're going through Rob, okay? I'm Rob's water truck bitch, okay? That's my job, okay? I don't own this place. I'm Rob's assistant. So, Swally, I'm going to tell you something right now. I guarantee you tomorrow night I'm putting cones halfway up the track, and those mother effers are not getting down on that berm. I told you to stay off the berm. I told you. I swear, tomorrow night there's going to be cones halfway up. You're burning up the track. I'm like, and then Swally comes to me, mad as hell, and I'm like, that's my guy,
Yeah, you gotta have you kind of have to have an invisible leash for Rob. But it's got to be long. You got to give him a little bit of rope, but you also have to have the ability to pull him back at times. But the thing is, there's nobody that wants it to be better than what Rob does. I mean, he pours his heart and soul into it.
He's the best. He's the best at it, Tony. He really is. He's the best track prep guy in all of dirt racing. Well, maybe next to you, because you are obviously pretty good at it as well. For the Chili Bowl hasn't been the same since you didn't have a finger in it anymore.
Well, and I think, it's a moving target. I mean, track prep's different because every year the cars and the technology of the cars, whether it's shocks or tires or whatever, changes. So what happens to the racetrack and how you prep it has to change, because what these guys are doing to their race cars to make their race cars go fast directly affect how the track wears during the night. And so, you can't just sit there and have a playbook in your hand and go, this is exactly how to do it. You have to be able to call audibles, and you have to be able to learn each year how the technology of the cars are changing, how they race. And that changes how we have to prep the racetrack to make a good event for the fans and for the drivers.
Out of all your investments, all the things you've ever done, other than probably the pretty big payday you got for the charters, which is none of my business, but out of all of the things, from the RC cars to just various racetracks to, what Eldora had to be your best investment ever.
Yeah, it's, the great thing about it is it was a great facility before I bought it.
Right, absolutely.
Built it to a great place. And even when I purchased it from Earl and Bernice, I mean, they were very active with me, especially Earl. I mean, if I had a project I wanted to do at the track, I would really think through it before I went to Earl, because I wanted to make sure that when I went to talk to him about it, that I didn't have a question that he might have that I couldn't answer.
Right.
When we would go and go to him with a project like that, it made me feel really good that I was going the right direction, because I'd say, hey, I got this in mind. What do you think? And he'd smile and he'd look at me and go, I always wanted to do that. So it made me feel like I was on the same page as him. And I think that's the thing now at this stage of my life. And, obviously we lost Earl and lost Bernice.
Yeah.
They've been gone for a little while. And so anytime we do a project, I always sit there and I go back to, like, I was going to walk in and talk to Earl and say, what do you think about this? And so anybody that thinks we do anything at our racetrack and we don't think about how Earl would want to do it is crazy.
I heard Earl was so stiff that like he would kick out Steve Kinzer. He did not care. He did not care. And if you were lippy or you had some, whatever, disrespectful or driving like an idiot or whatever, he would literally say, load it up, get the hell out. I don't care if you're Steve Kinzer, Bloomquist, Donnie Schatz, Danny Lasowski, load it up, buddy.
Yeah, he had his way of doing things, and the way he wanted it done, that's the way it was going to be done. And I feel like I'm carrying some of that attitude with me too.
Oh yeah,
because
very much.
We got a couple sprint car drivers that got lippy about, having to pay to sell T-shirts. And I'm like, you realize I'm paying almost $1 million in prize money this week. And you're complaining because you got to pay a little bit to sell your T-shirts. And they don't have to pay anything if they sell them out of the back of their trailer, like everybody else used to have to do 10.
But if they want the prime real estate behind the grandstand, that's going to cost you something.
They want everything given to them for free so they can try to make as much money as they can make. They don't know anything about business and don't care about what it takes. Just for example, and you know this because you're a track owner, Kings Royal alone, it costs us $50,000 to have the sheriff's department there for the week.
That's just your off-duty patrol. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Jeez.
And you got these little jack-off kids that sit there and can't stand that they got to pay a little fee to set their T-shirt trailer. We had 51 T-shirt trailers up there. It's like we start running out of room.
I forget.
Bring a T-shirt trailer. They're not. And here's why I think some of these kids are complaining, because they don't even sell $1,500 worth of T-shirts.
Right.
To pay for their parking space.
Right.
So they're mad because they can't get that. And it's like, nobody's saying you can't sell T-shirts out of the pits, out of your trailer for free.
Right.
But if you want to be like the big dogs up here, the Donnie Schatzes, the David Gravels, those guys aren't complaining about it.
The Hudson O'Neills, those boys ain't complaining.
Jonathan Davenport, and those guys, they make so much money up there that's they don't care.
I heard Earl, this is a legend, and I know you guys have changed the template since, but I heard Earl, and it's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And as a track owner, I appreciate it even more because, as you know, I understand the things and struggles you deal with regards to racers bitching and pay this and pay that. But I heard Earl used to, like, the way he would make the T-shirt guys pay for the deal is he'd make them buy like 25 or 20 tickets to the event. Each hauler had to buy like 25, which is brilliant. And, they could hand out to their best customers or their family or whatever, but he was insured to sell that many tickets to the event, and that paid for their T-shirt space, which is brilliant, quite frankly,
Yeah. And I would consider doing something like that, except for you make them buy 25 tickets and they just sit on them and don't give them to anybody. And you got 25 empty seats.
Right.
Could have had somebody.
And you really have the fire marshal up your ass where you have to really be compliant with regards to your capacity. So you're under the scope with regards to that. So 25 empty seats that are sitting in, some guy's hauler really is not helping you,
No, not when you got people that, we haven't had a sellout to where we couldn't sell standing room only yet. But again, like you mentioned, we have to be mindful with the fire marshals and how many people we have on property and in each area. And so, but yeah, it's fun because you got this younger generation that they want everything for nothing and they don't want to have to do anything for it. And they don't understand what it takes to run a business. So, it's some of the conversations with Levi have been funny because Levi's like, well, what do you want to do, boss? And I'm like, Well, tell them to pack their shit and get out of there.
Oh yeah, I listened. Rob Platford told me
The trailer's there. So.
Rob Platford told me, I think it might have been Robert Blue or somebody that was really raising hell. And I guess Levi went up and told him to shut it down, close the doors and shut it down. And I guess that came from you. That came from you. And you said, tell Blue, the madman, shut it down. And so literally Blue had to close his doors and shut it down because he was being a dick.
Well, he's not bringing another T-shirt trailer to my track. So
yeah,
it's more room for somebody else that's respectful and that we like. I mean, and the sad part is I'm a big Robert Ballou fan. I
am too.
More than to watch Robert Ballou run a non-wing sprint car at Eldora. If he is on the racetrack, my eyes are glued to him because he puts on a hell of a show. But my God, it's like
he gave me we had practice last year during the day. It was going to be a daytime practice because how it synced up with Volusia for the 410 USACs. And so Kurt said, listen, the only time we're going to be able to do it will be on Sunday, a day deal. Well, you know that day deals are just, you can't keep enough moisture, especially in Florida. We were having record heat. It was 83 degrees and me and Rob were just trying to lay the water to it. Well, sure enough, 3 or 4 sessions and guys are burning the right rears off, and just really not really learning much, but it's the only time we could do it. Oh my God, Blue came up to me, to my hauler, and took, had like 5 or 6 tires and threw them right in front of my RV and said, it's kind of bad when you go through 4 right rears during practice and all this kind of stuff. Well, I didn't even have to get on him. Rob sicked him on him. Rob goes, load your stuff up right now, bitch, if you don't want to race here. Just load it up. We don't even need you.
Yeah, you better get a leash for Rob.
No, I like Rob.
You can't turn him that loose, but no, it's right. I mean, and Robert's perspective is this, that he's there to test and learn something, and he's burning tires up that cost him money.
Yeah, lots.
But at the same time, it's like, what time of the day the test is.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's his first year and he doesn't know what the hell he's getting into, but maybe his fat head, maybe it squeezes his brain or something and he just can't think properly. But you got guys like that. I mean, there's always been guys like that in motorsports, and there's always going to be guys like that. And I'll be honest, I kind of like having it. You can't have these cookie cutter clean guys all the time. You need the rough ones like Robert. You need these other guys, but they, the thing that they don't think about, there's people to pick fights with. I am not one of those people that you want to sit there and pick fights with them.
Not as a track owner. You're not. No, not what I need.
I got plenty of things to do when I'm there and plenty of people to see. And if I got to deal with somebody being a jackass, it's a quick phone call and I remedy that situation real fast. God
bless him. R.I.P. Don't want to say a bad word about the Bloomer, but even the Bloomer learned, listen, don't pick a bunch of nonsense with Tony about his scale, the whole scale controversy and the whole 9 yards. And you didn't put up with any of that nonsense. And, even the Bloomer realized that, wow, Tony will just kick my ass out of here. He didn't care.
Well, I mean, there was a deal with the scales one year. There was a deal with tires and this and that, and threatened to sue me and this and that. And I'm like, well, let's go. I mean, I don't want to spend any money any more than you do. And if you truly believe you're right, then you got to do this. I mean, I'm like, yes. If you truly think you're right, and I don't think you're right, I think we're right. We'll take it to court and settle it. And he realized real quick he wasn't gonna threaten me. And Scott and I had a ton of mutual respect for each other. There were times we didn't see eye to eye.
Yeah.
Even through that, we still had a ton of respect for each other because we knew how much each other had worked to build the sport and what we meant to the sport. So,
well, and I think you guys did. I think Eldora did the best tribute and really did the most for his family as well. So, big attaboy for that. I know you guys really took care of his daughter, and you guys did a couple things for the family. And what a tragedy. And we're just reminiscing, about how hard-headed he was and how hard-headed you are. And you get 2 hard-headed dudes, and it's a hard-headed fest. And, usually the guy with the best lawyers and the most money wins. And that's you. Yeah. So last question. Let's talk about little Dominic. How's he doing, my friend? Is he sleeping through the night? Are you getting rest? What's going on?
That kid's terrible sleeping. But he is absolutely fantastic. And, I've known you for a long time, and I know you on air, but I also know you away from the studio, and I know who you are as a family man too. And everything that you told me being a father was going to be like has been exactly on point. I remember we went to Bradenton, Florida early this year. We went to the Pro Superstar Shootout event, and it was the week of the Super Bowl. And we've spent all winter on our race team trying to get it fixed and get the car sorted out from the year before that was a disaster. And we went down there, and it was terrible. We made 3 out of 14 runs that we tried to make. It actually made it down the track. And I remember one of those days, we were down there 5 days, and I remember going back. I told the guys, I said, I'm going to go back to the motorhome, make a sandwich real quick. I'll be right back. And I remember walking back, and I opened up the door, went up the steps, and that's where Leah had his bassinet. And I looked down in there, and he looked up at me and just smiled. And I was like, you know what? The car's not that bad, and it's not that important right now.
Doesn't really matter, does it?
It took a little itty bitty infant to teach me how to put a lot of this stuff in perspective. And it's stuff that you told me would come in time, and Kevin Harvick told me would come in time.
And your dad told you it was, Nelson Piquet, man, you can say what you want, but he was a pretty damn good dad. Shop teacher, just a regular hardworking son of a bitch. But, he got you into racing, he's a hell of a dude. And still a pred, but man, Nelson, you had a good dad too. You really did.
Yeah, he's the king of giving women mammograms, I say.
Yeah, that's saying it nicely.
Gets his arm around him, just gives them that big hard hug. And so I have friends that we're around the NASCAR stuff, and some of them are in the drag racing space now. And I'm like, well, did you get your free mammogram today? And they just laughed. They said, yeah, we saw your dad.
So are you, his mom is a world-class race car driver. His dad's, got more accolades I can talk about right now. Do you think Dom will be a racer?
It would be hard to not assume that that's what's going to happen,
right,
knowing what both of his parents do. But I think that was one thing in one conversation that Leah and I had that was fun for us, because we didn't know where each other stood on this topic. And I, all of our circle track buddies are like, when are you getting him a quarter midget? And all the drag race friends we have are like, when you getting him a junior dragster and this and that. And
get them both.
we both kind of had the same answer when we sat and talked about it. And literally the conversation didn't last any more than 60 seconds. And we both were absolutely on the same page of saying, we're not buying anything for him until he says, I want to do this. Because motorsports, if you want to play Little League baseball and you want to get a participation ribbon and all that, that's fine. If you want to do that with, Little League football and basketball and all that, that's great. I think it's great to teach them team sports. Racing is not that way. Racing is not one of these things you do half-ass. You're either all in or you're all out, because, what's the worst that can happen at a basketball game? You jump up and you twist your ankle.
Right.
Race car every time. And even if it's a go-kart that's going 50 miles an hour, you can get killed in it.
Yep.
So to have a son like Dominic that, everybody assumes he's going to be a race car driver, he has to make that decision in our eyes. And he has to have that drive and passion that both Leah and I have to be professional race car drivers. And it's like, and if he just wants to do it to just do it for a while, we're not saying he can't do it, but while you're doing it, you have to be all in. So he has to tell us if and when he wants to drive race cars, and we'll obviously support him in whatever he wants to do. I mean, we're both, if he wants to play golf, we're supportive of it. If he wants to play volleyball, whatever he wants to do, we don't care. We just want whatever you are passionate about and what you want to do in life, do it 100%. Don't do it half-ass.
Basketball players have to dodge dildos, Tony. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, if you're around Bubba, you're going to have to dodge some at some point.
Exactly.
Hey,
but
man, the Harvick kid's good. The Busch kid's good.
Great.
Yeah.
Those two kids are great.
Yeah.
Elon is crushing it.
Yes, he's killing it. I mean, he's beating Kevin.
Yeah. And I kind of had different views than Kevin on this. I mean, Kevin got him in a late model at 12.
I know.
And we putting these, we don't talk about it because
I did the same thing. I had Tyler in a 360 at 12.
And I'm sitting there going, why are we putting these kids in there? Their brains aren't developed all the way. Their bodies aren't mature. They can get hurt, because their bodies aren't mature like an adult, and they don't make adult decisions. There's a reason you don't get a driver's license till 16. There's a reason they don't let you drink alcohol till you're 21. It's because, and even at 54, I make bad decisions that I shouldn't make.
No, you never do.
But I've been against that. I've been one of those guys that is a proponent of, they don't get in full-size adult race cars till they're 16. But Keelan is one of those guys that the path that Kevin took him overseas racing go-karts. And you look at what Kyle Busch has done with Braxton, running Legends cars and Bandoleros and getting him in micro sprints and mini sprints. These guys are taking their kids down the right path and doing it the right way and have the right mindset to do that. Do I think every 12-year-old can do that and be capable of it and do it the right way?
No,
Absolutely.
no.
There's not even guys that can do that.
And the only reason I was able to get Tyler in something as volatile as a 360 wing sprint at 12 is because I had a track and we had unlimited practice. So, he had car control. Hell, one of our greatest accomplishments is he beat you at 12. He beat Tony Stewart. I mean, he beat you fair and square at 12. And I remember you did an interview about it and be like, hey, listen, this guy's, this kid can drive about anything. And, but most dads don't own a track. Most dads aren't Kevin Harvick. Most dads aren't Tony Stewart. Most dads aren't,
did it the right way. You took him in a controlled environment. Yep. Nobody else was on the track. So if he made a mistake, he wasn't tearing somebody else's race car up.
Right.
You had the ability to do something that a lot of people don't do. And that's just giving laps. And that's what kids need.
Yep.
Is just lap after lap. And I remember early in our conversation today, you brought up simulators, and man, I'm a big fan of iRacing. Huge.
So am I. That is so. I mean, we didn't have any of that stuff when we were growing up, but can you imagine how good? I mean, you're good, one of the best ever. But can you imagine at age 6, you were in already driving a 410 sprint car on a simulator?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great advantage now for young drivers. Yeah. There are some pitfalls that go with that. I think some of these drivers, when you can crash a car and crash with another guy on a simulator and it didn't cost you real money and real time of working on a car, and you literally can reach up and hit a button and boom, you got a new car again and you start over. I think that is one of the variables that you have to watch with these kids, because some of them forget that it's real money. It's real people driving them at a racetrack, and people have had man hours in them. So you put a 12 or 14-year-old kid in a car that doesn't have a job. He doesn't have to support his wife and his other kids, and
not paying for any of the equipment. His dad is
not paying. Doesn't have it. Kids don't have a job at 12, so
doesn't know that a right rear is $300 right now.
and for these kids to go out there, and sometimes they get a little aggressive like they do on iRacing, but the good ones figure it out pretty quick. So I'm a huge fan of simulators. I think iRacing is one of the best things that's happened to motorsports, because it's brought people that weren't sure that they could be race car drivers, and they're really good on iRacing. Most of the time they can get in a race car and do pretty well with it out of the gate.
Weren't you an early investor or a believer? Weren't you part of iRacing's conception?
No, not at all.
I thought you were. I bet you wish you were.
Absolutely, I do. I do, and honestly, I still wish I was. If I had the opportunity to invest in it, I would love to, because I truly believe in iRacing.
I do too. It's the best.
But they came and scanned Eldora Speedway. We were one of the early dirt tracks that they scanned, and so we had a partnership with them early. And my buddy Rico Abreu.
Oh, Rico, I love him.
He had it, and I got on his at the house, and he goes, "You need to get one." So we literally went and bought all the stuff we needed to set up another rig in the house. And it's not uncommon. I mean, literally since we've had Dominic out in Arizona over the winter, it would not be uncommon to get him in bed at 8 or 8:30 at night, and I'm out on the simulator at 9, and I'm shutting it down at 5 in the morning. And 8-hour sessions doing iRacing. I mean, I absolutely love doing it.
Didn't Ronnie Setzer build you a little rig? At your Columbus house?
Yeah, Jason Setzer.
Jason Setzer, yeah.
Jason built one, and actually Sumo has that rig now, and our buddy Chad Wheeler in Oklahoma, he's one that has built Dale Jr. and Kyle Larson, myself, Patrick Mahomes. He's built a lot of cool sims for these guys, but they're affordable, and are small enough. They're just one unit, and you can move them around and move them to different locations. He's built two, one for myself and one for Leah that we bought for the ranch here in Indiana. And then I've got a different company that I bought one out in Arizona that I like too. So it's fun. I mean, I can't get Leah into it just because she's just not, she's a drag racer. She's not really an oval racer, sports racer. So she doesn't really have an interest in it, but I'm glad we have two of them, because at some point, Dominic, we're going to get him.
Oh yeah.
On it. So I didn't even think about that till right now. So your question of will he drive a race car? I can about guarantee you he's going to want to drive a race car, because he's going to get on this iRacing sim.
You're going to get a little baby seat and pedal extensions, but he'll be like a little Rico in there, right?
I can see this being a gateway to getting him into a full-size race car. So
hey, but I know I could talk to you for hours, my friend, and I hope we can do this again. Get so much great information from you, and tell Leah I said hi, my friend, and I'm trying to make it to the Nationals this year in Indy, and I know I saw you in Gainesville this past year, but God, the weather sucked this year in Gainesville, didn't it? Oh, it was the worst. But
that's the hard part about spring, and especially March in Florida. I mean, you know how hit and miss down there, but NHRA does a great job. We love racing with them. It's like we mentioned earlier, man, to sit there and go to a series where you can go to a big race and buy one ticket, and you can literally go everywhere. You can go down and see the drivers, see the cars. You can be in the pit when they do the warm up. That's something you can't get anywhere else. So I love what I'm doing in NHRA. I love the fact that we won 2 races this year, and that we led the points for a while, and we legitimately.
Well, I think you've already punched your ticket for the playoffs, have you not? You've already punched your ticket for it.
We did. So we got Brainerd coming up next weekend, then we got a weekend off, and got the U.S. Nationals, and then our playoffs start. So
have you thought about it for 1 second? What the hell you're gonna do if you win the championship? I mean, at that point, man, they can't say that you're not the greatest of all time. Nobody's ever done that. Nobody's ever won Indy, NASCAR, IROC, WKA, NHRA. I mean, that's good. That's it could happen. It could happen, bud.
It's a legitimate possibility, and we have a legit opportunity, at least where we're at right now, of contending for a championship this year. So the good thing is we got a great beer sponsor. We have American Rebel Light Beer, and a great partner. And I told Andy Ross that owns the company, I said, if we're still in this mathematically in this thing at Pomona, I said, you have better make sure you bring enough beer, because it's going to be,
because you're a beer drinker. When you put your mind to it and you're celebrating something, I mean, I think you're an old Schlitz guy, aren't you?
He used to be,
used to be a Schlitz. I've like. Someone will be like, God damn, I don't know why he's drinking Schlitz.
Now it's American Rebel Light, man. Get with it, Bubba.
I know.
Come on.
American Rebel Light's a better quality than Schlitz was. The whole reason I drank Schlitz back in the day is because I had my house in Indiana, and then I had a house in North Carolina, and I had roommates. So you would, if you were in North Carolina and you came home to Indiana and you looked in the fridge, there wasn't any beer in the fridge because your jack-off roommates drank all your beer and didn't buy any.
Right.
So you'd buy beer and you'd have beer when you were home. And then when you'd go back to North Carolina, same thing. The fridge, you'd open it up, get a beer.
But they wouldn't touch that Schlitz, would they?
Out of one, man. If there were 7 in the fridge when you left and you came back 3 months later, there were 7 in the fridge when you came home. I'm like, I found my beer.
Rumor has it that you did some Pro Mod testing, was within, I don't know, 2/100ths of what they're running. And just little birdie told me that Leah might get back in a rail next year, and you might run Pro Mods. I mean, that's just rumor on the streets.
Sure. Yeah, Leah tested it after the Richmond, Virginia race. Leah tested on that Monday, and there hasn't been anything officially. She hasn't made her mind up 100%, but I saw her get out of the car, and I saw when she took her helmet off, I saw the look on her face, and I'm like, I own this team, and I'm going to get fired from driving this team at the end of the year. Most likely.
You could be the only guy. Hold on. You could be the only guy, Tony, to own the team, to win a championship, and get fired.
Yeah, all in the same deal.
I know.
And it's a legit possibility. So, obviously Leah, it was her car to begin with.
Right.
And
We know.
Pregnant, I got picked to be the replacement driver, but I've said all along, and we get fans every week that come up and they're like, "When's Leah coming back?" and all that. And I'm like, "Hey, you're asking the wrong person. When Leah comes out, you got to ask her when she's coming back, because I need to know the same thing." So I went down to Tulsa, Oklahoma. My good friend Richard Freeman, who owns Erica Ender's team and Aaron Stanfield's team, he's got about 7 or 8 or 9 pro stock cars now. Went down to Tulsa Monday and Tuesday and tested in one of the pro stock cars. So he offered me a job for next year if I want it. So I've got an open. I have an opportunity. I'm not going to be sitting
with a good team. With a good team too. I mean, Eric Anders is the champion, isn't she?
She's a 6-time champion.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Drives from my buddy Randy Skagg.
Yeah, and so I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, I love Top Fuel. But
those pro mod guys, I'm not trying to take anything from your Top Fuel guys, but those pro mod guys, those are some shifting son of a bitches. I mean, there's way more activity let's just be honest, you're smashing the gas and holding on and hoping that your tuner put the right setup on your deal. It's sketched out, your face is peeled back, you got 6 G's going on, you're hoping you don't want, but with those pro mods, I mean, it's a real race car driver. Like, you're shifting the gears like your NASCAR Willie. I mean, bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, and we need to clarify. So I drove a pro stock car. There is pro mod too. Pro mod's even another level of crazy.
Yeah, you could do it.
I think I could learn how to do it in time, but the pro stock cars are slower than the pro mods are. But man, I mean, like you said, I mean, when we hit the gas in a Top Fuel car, I've already stepped off of a clutch pedal, so it's like a centrifugal clutch. And literally, I'm holding the brake with my hand, and when that light changes, I'm stabbing the gas and letting the brake off. That's it. With the pro stock car, you're having to set line lock brake pressures and do the burnout where you're starting in second gear and third, fourth, fifth as fast as you can shift and let off the line lock. There's just way more things in the procedure to do. But when you hit the gas and when you're holding the line lock, you got your foot on the clutch, you got your foot on the gas, and when that light changes, you're dumping the line lock and you're dumping the clutch at the same time.
I think you would like it. I think you would like it more. I really do, because I mean, you're all about the driving part of a sport, and I think you'd like it more. I really do.
I really enjoyed it. I mean, I think I made 5 full runs in the car. Well, 4 full runs in the car over the 2 days. But it's definitely, there's more driver input, right? I feel, in that, because of the shifts.
Right.
It's not that drivers don't. I mean, when you're driving a 330 mile an hour Top Fuel dragster or funny car in 1,000 feet, I mean, the drivers are busy in there, trust me, and they got to be talented, because with nitro motors, if the tire spins or the motor gets too free, it can put cylinders out. And when it does that, if you don't catch it right away, they can blow up. The pro stock car is just a different challenge. It's not going to blow up if something happens, but when you leave the line, you have 4 shifts that you got to hit at the right times to keep that motor in the right RPM range. Yeah. And so the driver becomes a different factor than what it is in Top Fuel and funny car. But yeah, it's got my interest. I've got some feelers out there to drive some other cars next year in NHRA. So, just,
man, how cool would that be?
What Leah's doing for sure. We can't do anything, but once she makes her decision, and if she does decide that she wants to come back next year, I've at least got some irons in the fire of options for.
We'll get the boss lady to commit to the rail. We'll get Hagen in the funny car. We'll get you in the pro stock, and then we'll have 3 cars. Maybe Randy will throw you a Skag Willie, get some sponsorship, and man, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Oh my God.
If Hagen had his way, we would start another funny car team. If Leah ultimately had her way, we would start another Top Fuel team. And I keep telling both of them, I'm like, yeah, to get through year 1 on that.
I need 10 million.
I need 6.5 to 7 to get through year 1.
I wasn't too far off.
No, and then I got to figure out how to get 3.5 to 4 the next year to keep running it. So
right, and you got to probably buy another haul. You probably got to buy another hauler, right? Another hauler, 2 more hauler, right?
It takes 2 of those semi truck and trailers to run each car.
Right.
Everything that you have in there is what it takes to run those cars. So we would need 2 trucks and trailers. It's not just like And I don't have the bandwidth to just write a check for that and go on down the road.
Oh, yeah, you do. Don't even think about it, please.
I don't have a job now. So what I have is what I have to live the rest of my life and support my family on. So I have to be a little careful about what I'm spending and where. But yeah, I'm going to do something.
I was with you one time, and listen to this, Lummy. We were at the Lightning game, and Tony wanted to buy $5,000 worth of 50-50 tickets.
Oh, yeah. And it was going through the roof.
It was like, I don't know, it was like 30 or 40 grand. And Tony, so the guy with the little, the guy comes down the rows and he sells them. So Tony gives him his credit card and says, I'll take $5,000 worth. Well, the first problem was that he had an Indiana-based bank, and so you couldn't do it with an Indiana bank. So this guy directed us to this kiosk that we could go do it, but it was halfway around the arena. So Tony's like, listen,
I finally got around there. Our fat asses were over. We didn't give a shit if we won the 50-50 or not. We just wanted to get ice cream and beer and go back to our seats.
So we get these tickets. I swear to God, they went from here to the parking lot, and he gave me a third of them. He gave Jimmy Carr a third of them, and he took a third of them. So when they announced the winners, we're just looking at the ticket numbers to see if we won. Of course we didn't.
Course
we weren't even close. Our number wasn't even in the same zip code as the rest.
No, but it was funny to watch Tony Stewart try to buy $5,000 worth of 50-50 tickets. you degenerate.
Hey, the other half went to charity. Come on, man. We did something good for somebody.
It really. Man, the Eldora 50-50 gets up to like what, 200 grand?
Oh.
It gets on the big shows. It'll get over 100,000.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool. I mean, you think about going to a race, and literally, I think the last one that was over 100,000, the guy was a firefighter, 2 small towns north of Eldora, and to me, that's just awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Great, because the 50% that we keep goes to charity, and we know we're doing something positive there. But a lot of times you don't really hear the story of who wins some of these 50-50s. And for these guys to win $100,000, that's life-changing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So to see a firefighter like that win that, to me, that was awesome. So, I mean, we always get it started off right, get the money and get a little money in there early. From ourselves to get the thing going.
Right. Get people excited. It's already, man, it's already 25 grand and they haven't they're still working on the track.
Maybe next year a struggling DJ can win.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe. I mean, who knows? Shit.
Set it up.
Like 2 tickets and then he'll get pissed off if he doesn't win it. You know how that goes.
Listen, I'll get mad
this drawing is bullshit.
I'll get mad if I have to pay for a pit pass. I'll be lighting Tony up. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh man, I stayed at Bubba's Big Bath and Beyond. I mean, you got tickets anytime you want to go.
I know that, buddy. Hey, listen, tell the boss lady I said hi, and I just absolutely adore the hell out of her. Give your kid a big old hug. Please know that I keep up through Rico and Sumo, so I keep up on what you're doing, and I'm so proud of you. You're such a great dad. You're a great husband. You're as grounded and as happy as I've ever seen you. As successful as I've ever seen you, and it's just really, really happy to see my friend do well and be happy and be with a woman that appreciates what you do. And let's do this more often, T, and let's keep in better touch if we can.
Absolutely, man. It's you stay up with Rico and Sumo, and I'm like, but he's got my phone number. It's like you can reach him.
But I'm the guy that likes to stay off your radar because you got so many people. See, here's the deal. I'm the guy that stays off your radar, and you appreciate that. If I need you, I'll get a hold of you, but I'm not blowing you up. I got you. We got each other.
It's funny because I got so many really close friends, and they're the ones that reach out the least because of that.
Yep.
It's like I got all kinds of downtime that and I'm busy. I'm still busy as hell, but I mean, there's a lot of times that I've got downtime and I'm like, man, I love hearing from my friends. So it's, I always tell all you guys that are close to me, I'm like, man, don't ever be afraid to pick that phone up. And even if it's just sending a text message, just saying, hey, I'm thinking about you today. I love getting those messages and loving talking to my friends, man. It's, as you get older in life and, it's great to look at the stats and the records and the championships and awards we've got. But, as much as those mean a lot, there's nothing that means more to me than my friends and my family.
Friends and family, man.
Oh, I mean, you fit in both of those categories.
Thank you, my friend.
So,
I'm humbled.
yeah,
I'm
I
humbled.
definitely want to do this more with you. I love getting on and hanging, and definitely love it when I get a chance to go down south and be there in person, see your boys there, and hang out with the guys. And you got a great group there, and we just love hanging out and having fun.
Hey, bud, have a good day, my friend. What's up for this weekend? You got an off weekend? Well, I mean, it's probably really not an off.
I've had a busy week. So Tulsa Monday and Tuesday testing the Pro Stock car. We were down in Franklin, Tennessee yesterday with Johnson's Horsepower Garage with our buddy Johnson, and Andy Ross from American Rebel Light was down there yesterday too. And today got a day off. I actually get a haircut today.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm excited about. I'm way overdue for a haircut. So amazing how.
That's why you got a hat on.
That, and because I didn't get in the shower when I got up, I just threw a hat on.
Right.
So, but yeah, to the next 2 days, Friday and Saturday, this is Knoxville Nationals week too, our biggest week.
Are you headed over?
I'm not going to make it this year. It's the first year that I'm not going to make at least a day.
Usually you'd fly in, at least catch the Saturday night show or the Friday based on if you had a cup deal, and fly out. And then the announcer would be like, "Ladies and gentlemen, look up. You'll see that's Tony Stewart citation leaving the airport."
Yeah, but we got to go to Detroit tomorrow and Saturday for Dodge, and they've got Roadkill Nights up there. So it's on Woodward Avenue, and they do a big deal with the automotive industry up there. So we're going to spend some time with our Dodge friends up there, and I'll be rooting Donnie shots on from my phone. I'll be watching online. But,
I'll be watching Flow on your phone. Amanda Dodge, dating back to Kevin Miller when he used to run Dodge. Man, I'm glad to see Dodge has been really taking good care of you. They really have. It's good to see them, helping you and being such a great sponsor. Yeah.
Yeah, great partner. Mark Whitney's the guy we deal with at Dodge now, and just does a fantastic job. He's very, very frugal about everything. He makes sure that when we need something, when we go to him, we not only say, hey, we need this, but we tell him why. And if it's justified, he gets it. If it's something that can wait down the road, he makes us wait a little bit. But man, they great people at Dodge, and Tim Kaniskas and the gang. I mean, they just great people.
Listen, bud, good talking to you. I love you. And hopefully I'll be seeing you for in Indianapolis here in a couple weeks, my friend.
Yeah, definitely. If we come up a little early, a couple days, and we'll mess around before we go up there and get busy.
Get on the farm. I love the farm. Yeah. All right, but hey, you still got deer camp as the boss, as the deer boss out there?
Oh yeah, Ryan's out there digging every day. We got two guys that take care of the deer and the farm.
He at that one when I went to the Rumble with you for the New Year's Eve, I thought he was going to kill me. Oh. I have to tell you that story some other time. I made a joke about his hairline and that he looked like Eddie Munster. And
that's not probably a good joke, Bubba.
It took his wife to get him off me. He was going to kick my. Someone goes, "God damn! I'm going to tell you something. I've never seen him that. He's going to beat your ass."
Oh, and it's easy too, because if you're within 5 feet of him, another 3 feet, you got him. I mean, you can't turn around and run that fast right now. So
I'm not a very fast runner either, T.
I'd love to see that foot race.
I'm not beating anybody in a foot race either, buddy. I'm telling you that.
Yeah, it was funny because Rico and I were actually talking yesterday about the Big Girl Nationals, and I'm like,
yeah.
Maybe we need to make this a traveling event from Ocala, and maybe we need to bring it to Eldora.
Oh my God! If we did it Eldora, oh my Lord!
I'm going to make the call today to Levi, and I'm going to bring this up, and he's either going to tell me I'm the biggest idiot that he's ever met, or he's going to. I think we can pull this off, because you got to think about society right now. I mean, we got plus size women and catalogs and stuff, which I love. I mean,
and when I started getting people kind of getting a little bit, hey, this is a little bit mean to girls and things like that. I'm like, where else can a big girl win $3,000 in a track and field event?
Yeah, and not get beat by somebody that's eating kale every day.
Right, exactly. So where a big girl can be rewarded for being big and being the money.
That's right.
And as a society now, I mean, we're celebrating that. You get into fashion catalogs and clothing catalogs. There's big women in there, and I think it's great because not everybody's skinny.
No, and especially girls from Rossburg, Ohio. I mean, those are corn-fed girls up there, and they need a chance to win $5,000, just like the next guy does.
It's celebrating big girls.
Celebrating big girls.
The American Rebel Light Big Girl National.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah,
and if my grand prize for my little ass was $5,000, it'd be 15 at Eldora, maybe 20.
It's actually just American Rebel. There's nothing light about these ladies.
Hey,
well, that's why we're giving them American Rebel Lights, so they don't have to, they don't really stock up for the event.
yeah, I mean, really, honest to God, really, we probably really need to talk about that. I mean, we really should.
I literally was talking about it, and Kelly Antonelli, who runs our NHRA program, Kelly's in the back seat listening to all this, and I'm like,
Right.
Kelly's one of them that if I get down a rabbit hole on a bad idea, she's normally the first to pipe up. She was listening. She didn't really say much, so I'm like, she's processing this, thinking this might have legs.
I mean, the high jump winner was 2 foot 7 inches. That was the high jump winner, and onto a bale of hay. I mean, it just writes itself. I mean,
Man, I think
we had the pickup truck push challenge where they had to push a pickup truck for a certain distance, and we had the
What was it, the 50 or half lap?
well, you see, Eldora's a half mile, so you couldn't do a half lap, so you have to do like a straightaway run.
We'd have to have refreshment stops on the way for.
Well, yeah,
They could have to eat a pie on halfway through.
Eldora's even a better facility than I got, so we could do way more with it. Like maybe do it during the King's Royal or during the prelude. We used to have the prelude to the Dream. We don't have a prelude anymore. We could have the big girl games.
I like it. I'm telling you, I'm making phone calls today, bud. You inspire me.
Ask Leah what she thinks, and we'll see.
She'll be pissed off she can't enter.
Yeah, she's way too light. Like, no way. You have to be over 200 to even be in the gimmick. Like, you can't be under 200 pounds. Yeah.
I think
you actually were my biggest sponsor. When I did the Big Girl Nationals, you wrote me a $2,500 check. You were my biggest sponsor.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I thought it was awesome. I mean, I thought girls that don't have a chance to ever compete for money like that in a sporting event get a chance.
How many 5'8", 260-pound girls have ever won anything?
Hammer throw.
Well, I mean, shot put.
Yeah, but did it pay $3,000, $5,000 to win?
No, it didn't pay $5,000. No.
Participation ribbon.
Then they got a medal at best, a little nickel-sized medal. Yeah, no big deal. Hey T, love you, my friend, and let's look into that. I'm telling you, we could just the social media presence alone, we could pay for itself.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Yeah,
I got to make sure that if Leah approves and Levi approves, then I got to call Dodge and say, hey, what do you think? And I got to start going down the channels. There's a lot of hurdles to cross here.
But the hot spots as far as like when does big girls always get screwed out of any event?
Exactly.
So it's as pro woman as you can get.
This is their time to shine.
Yep. Sorry, skinny girls. I mean, skinny girls get all the prizes. They get all the accolades. Miss Eldora, look how hot they are. They win everything. Well, Miss Eldora couldn't even qualify for this now.
Oh, not eligible.
Not eligible. All right, T. We love you, buddy.
Thank you, bud.
See you later, buddy.
You
all right, bud. Thank you.
Bud.
Tony Stewart.
Gene Lasker just walked in. I'm a few minutes early for the show.
I'm glad you got Tony.
No, it's Friday.
What's that?
We might let Gene enter as an honorable mention.
Gene could be the color commentator. Man, look at this big girl. I'm telling you right now, man, she's big as hell.
My money's on number 3. I saw her take a big dump right before the event.
Make him the trophy king or something.
Oh man, maybe we could get a big food like Culver's or somebody like that, to help sponsor.
American Rebel Light.
Well, they got it. There's
the only trans we support are transmissions.
there was an eating contest, Brian.
All right, T man, good talking to you, buddy.
All right, guys, thank you.
All right, bye, buddy.